As soon as I see an image, as soon as something happens and I see the image, there's like a timer that starts. You got to get something out as quick as possible.
Welcome to a very artsy and sportsy episode of Log Off. Everyone has an internet story to tell, and today we're getting LJ Raiders. LJ is the man behind the curation curtain for one of the very best social media gimmicks going, Art But Make It Sports. That's at Art But Sports on Twitter and at Art But Make It Sports on Instagram. If you're not familiar, the accounts do exactly what they sound like. LJ matches sports visuals to pieces of real art, and it's hilariously accurate. If you're not watching this episode on YouTube or Spotify, I encourage you to do so because we will definitely be sprinkling in some of these visuals. I am very excited to dig into why and how LJ does what he does and to learn more about his online journey. LJ, let's start this podcast the way we always do at the beginning. What is your earliest internet memory?
First off, thanks for having me. Excited to chat tonight. I guess my first internet memory is my grandma got an email account. I remember going to her house and she had the AOL dial-up. It took like 10 minutes to connect, and I guess that was my first computer memory. But then internet, maybe like playing Yahoo Chess. Just nerd from the very beginning. Yahoo Chess and Yahoo Billiards, like Yahoo Games, was a big fan of. And
I used to do that too. Were you one of those people who would bail on the game if they were losing?
Probably. I wouldn't put that past 10-year-old me. But yeah.
That's fair. So I've read about your process, how your posts come together, but I really need to hear this straight from you because it sounds like witchcraft. Can you take us through what happens from the time, an interesting sports visual happens or you receive a request until it eventually ends up as an Art But Make It Sports post?
Yeah, sure. So sometimes it's from something I'm just, watching on TV myself live, like watching a game and notice something, but the account has become quite large. So now people will send images. So like when Draymond choked out Gobert the other night, my phone just started blowing up. No joke, like 300 separate notifications of people sending in DMs and tagging the account. I wasn't watching that game, but if I can make a post within a few minutes of the event and then post it on Twitter or Instagram, it becomes part of kind of the conversation. So it usually boils down to one of three different avenues. I might just like immediately know what the connection would be, what the art piece that would work is, just from either art that I've seen or just art that I kind of know. I have folders on my phone of over 10,000 images now that I've taken at museums and galleries. And so I've done a pretty good job of memorizing sort of what's in there. Or I know to sort of go back, and if I can't, it's that piece, but I don't quite remember, where to find it, and go look at the museum. It's sorted by when I took them. So that's one avenue. Another is recognizing like a theme in art history. So if somebody's lying on the ground, it could be the Lamentation of Christ, and I've taken a bunch of photos myself, but it tends to be like if I want to get something as exact as possible, just looking up on Google the Lamentation and knowing that theme in art history will likely match with something. And then finally, sometimes it's not matching on a theme as much as it's on like an artist's style. Sometimes I'll see something, I don't know what the exact piece is, but I'm like, this reminds me of a so-and-so. And usually between those three avenues, something comes together.
It's crazy to me that there's no AI or reverse image search situation going on here. It's all strictly from memory.
It's all strictly from memory or from finding it, like knowing what to kind of look up on Google to get close. I'll use Google Lens on the image. So if I use an image that I took at a museum, I'll use Google Lens to pull the artist name, the title, and the year. just because I can't I can't memorize the artist, the name of the painting, the artist, and the year of every single photo I've ever taken. That would be pretty ridiculous. So I'll use that, but I don't ever use AI to like come up with the comparisons at all. I don't even know how I would go about doing
I
that.
think you might be the closest thing to that AI. Like,
Well, so I've been told. People have framed it other ways that maybe aren't quite as friendly, but yeah. Um,
like, how did you get so into art? Is this something that, like, growing up you're really into, or is this just you're traveling around and you're going to museums and taking photos because that's something you're interested in now?
Always liked museums. Traveled a lot for work, and one of the things I like doing is every city that I'm in, going to a museum or two there, or 10 if it's something like Paris. Yeah, I took an art history class in college. Really enjoyed it, and
Oh, cool.
then told my parents I was going to minor in it, and they're like, "You're not going to get a job in that you need a degree for art history for. Just like go do it yourself." And I'm like, okay.
You mentioned like the Gobert thing or any kind of major moment your DMs blow up and people, it sounds like they're requesting that you do something. Do you ever get like suggestions, and does that just kind of turn you off? There's no way you're going to use something like that when someone else has suggested it. You want to come up with it yourself?
There's a decent amount of people that do suggestions, but
Mhm.
they're never all that good. Um, or they're just like the Scream, or the
Oh yeah.
creation of man. I think there's sort of a limited amount of art images that people tend to use when they do comparisons. Although recently people have been sending in some good ones, but yeah, all the posts that I do are done by me. So.
Has there ever been a request that you just could not make the connection and it just killed you?
A lot of the times I can't make a connection, so it really helps when there's like lots of potential images to pull from. Like the Gobert Draymond fight had a whole host of different angles that
Yeah.
people were sending in, so that was really helpful. Um, I guess there's never really been one that like it killed me that I couldn't make the connection, because like I can kind of look at it and know if I'll be able to make one or not.
Mhm.
And if I know I can't, sometimes I'll kick the tires a little bit, but at the end of the day, like I won't really waste my time. So
Are there specific art genres or eras you prefer working within?
yeah, so I don't really discriminate. I kind of pull from everything. There's definitely ones that work better. Um, I think works that people recognize definitely help, but they might not recognize the work itself. Those tend to do really well because people write in like, "Oh, I knew this was a Van Gogh, but I've never seen this one before." The old school stuff works really well, but then there's something like more abstract. If they're good, those tend to do really well too. So I guess to answer your question, whatever I come up with sort of ends up working. So
On the sports side, you lean into the NBA quite a bit, which scratches an itch for me as a huge basketball fan and an NBA Twitter participant. Is that um, because it's your preferred sport, or is that just the most fertile ground for drama and great visuals and things like that?
yeah, my favorite sport's baseball,
Okay.
um, and I watch pretty much every college football game I can. Um, but yeah, basketball. I don't know. Basketball is purpose built for comparisons. You've got people whose faces you recognize. You've got a limited number of people on the court with limbs moving at any given point in time, which tends to pair well with art. And then obviously, if you're a participant of NBA Twitter and NBA social media, right, the drama that surrounds the NBA is just as interesting, if not arguably more interesting, than what actually happens on the court, at least during the regular season, and especially because it's an international sport too.
Yeah, there's
Um,
nothing like NBA Twitter. They just will feast on anything. It's amazing. So the account didn't always, or the accounts, I guess, because you're on Twitter and Instagram, didn't always operate the way that they do now. Can you take us back to the beginning and like, the moment you decided to fire this up?
yeah, so I used to just go to museums and post pictures with captions on my like personal Instagram account. um, and had friends over time be like, "Hey, this is funny. You should make it into its own thing." So I did. Yeah, for a while I was kind of just posting into the abyss, just like my friends and my mom's friends and a handful of people that followed for I want to say like over a year. It was fine. It was fun. I had friends like help try to grow it, and then I guess Sarah Spain posted about the account that got a chunk of people, and then from there they were just kind of sort of small growths, and then at some point it just kind of took off. I think during not last season but the season before NBA playoffs.
Yeah, now you have collectively over 250,000 followers. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's always interesting to me, like what makes an entertaining account go from basically obscurity to breaking through to the audience that it actually deserves. Do you remember a specific inflection point? Was it the Sarah Spain mention, or did something else take it to another level?
Yeah, I don't know if there was like one moment like having her post about it definitely got I think I might have had like 800 people that followed and she posted about it and it like doubled within, a half hour or something. Just along the way there have been times where it's been, picked up by, media outlets or somebody posting about it. But there wasn't like one moment where, it got like 50,000 people all at once coming through. But I mean it felt like that when when somebody famous first noticed it. So
Any interactions that have kind of made your jaw drop, like really famous followers or interactions from people that are well known?
there's tons of sports people that follow and sort of sometimes comment and post about it. It's actually funny. I started a spin-off for politics, and I did a post with George Santos in it, and he responded to it, which I thought was hysterical. So that's definitely the one that sticks out. I know it's not this this account, but there've been a lot, and I guess they all kind of blend together at this point in time. But yeah, George Santos tweeting at me was not something that I expected to see.
That's probably the most normal thing George Santos has ever done. So art and sports, they aren't mutually exclusive. There are plenty of people who enjoy both. But have you heard from anyone who maybe was like mainly interested in one of those things and you've converted them to take an interest in the other?
Yeah, all the time. The best are people that don't really follow sports and know a lot about art that post about it. Um, but yeah, I feel like I've like bridged people in like relationships that like one half likes art, one half likes sports, and give them something to we both can kind of talk about together. But yeah, plenty of people that follow right in and say, I appreciate this side, but never really thought about the other. But part of what I try to do is make it so that like you don't really need to know about art. You don't really need to know about sports. Sometimes people ask for the sports context, and so I'll the video like the Draymond Gobert fight. Like I quote tweeted the video, so like if you looked at it and you didn't know what it was, then you could go and see that.
I think a lot of people have ideas for like niche or gimmicky social media accounts and they just don't even bother because, to start something like that, you're basically posting into a void to start. And that's not really a fun way to spend time. Do you have any advice for people, that might have an idea like that on getting over that initial hump and like garnering some attention?
Yeah, maybe just like don't care about it and just do it. I don't know, I still don't. I still like. I don't really make any money from it. Um, Twitter. I don't know. Twitter used to be a lot more fun. Obviously, it's kind of turned into a terrible place that maybe don't really want to be there anymore. But for a while, it was just you know, I, I don't. I think what makes the account good and why it resonates with people is you know I'm not like pushing detox tea on anybody or like trying to be an influencer or you know upselling anything. Like I just make the posts and kind of see what happens from there. And yeah, I guess I probably wouldn't be the best one at giving advice on like how to grow a business necessarily. So if anybody out there has advice on how to monetize, let me know. But in terms of like getting your account followers. I think you got to have something unique and um, you know, I guess try hard to get it in front of people in a way, or like there's certain strategies on, like when I was first starting out on Twitter, like I made a post about an image that I saw, and yes, let's say ESPN tweeted, you know, the Draymond Gobert fight. I would do the post and then I'd put it in the replies to that image so that if you were scrolling through the comments you'd see it. If a comment was actually quality, it sort of bubbled to the top, and that was one of the tactics I guess I used. But yeah, if whatever you're doing isn't unique, it's very hard to stand out. So
Yeah, that outbound strategy used to be so key to starting things up, and it's just completely ruined at this point.
comment
It's
section
terrible.
used to be a lot of fun. Now
Yeah,
it's like you
used
got to
to be.
stay away. So,
Is there a piece of art that like you can't wait to deploy, like something that you're hoping will be able to match up with something that happens in the sports world?
there's some good ones like in the because I use Google Photos to shout out Google Photos if you want to sponsor me, make some money. The I use them to like store all my images, and there's a functionality to like favorite um, images. So there's like after, so I'll go to a museum. A lot of the time, I'll literally just go boop 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 to each of the different pictures, and then so I won't sit there and look at the art, but I'll be selective on what I take pictures of. Like I'll walk into a space and be like, all right, this will definitely work at some point in the future. Take all the pictures, and then afterwards come home and sort of study the folder and go through and favorite ones that are like really really good, and I just know will come up at some point, or sorry, ones that are really good or ones that like people embracing or kissing always comes up in some form or fashion, and so adding those to kind of a favorites folder, and then there's a whole bunch in that folder that I'm excited for one day being able to use. There's one I think I've used it twice now, but um, there's I'm gonna butcher the name because I don't speak German, but the Alta Pinocchio. I don't know how to say it. The museum in Munich. I was at God maybe 2 years ago now, and there's this random. I say random. It just doesn't quite fit his overall vibe, but painting by Goya of these people at an outdoor picnic, and then on the side is one dude just puking, like on his on all fours puking, and his buddy's like behind him holding his head. And so I saw that, and I was like, all right, this one day somebody's gonna puke in the middle of a game, and sure enough, Sabrina
Who's
of the
happening?
WNBA finals when I guess they caught her on the sideline with a big trash can puking into it, and then I was like, yep, I know what to do.
So what I'm hearing is now when you go to museums, you're not just admiring the art, but you are cataloging things for future use in sports. Has this kind of endeavor changed the way you watch sports and go to museums? Is this just always in the back of your head now?
It's definitely changed the way I go to museums. I used to like go and look at the art and like in my head make the joke that I might have made on Twitter, right? Like, oh, like I'd look at a painting and be like, that looks like Phil Jackson, but never like just deliberately going and taking a picture of it so that I could use it later to like I'd take a few and then post on my personal Instagram, because this was God 2014 2015, um, and I wasn't like keen on taking pictures of myself for my food. It was, thought this would be something that somebody would see on their timeline that'd be different from my friends. And but now it's strictly like I'm there on a mission to get as much good I call it meme fuel as possible. So
Are you still enjoying both sports and art just as much, or has it ruined it, either of those things for you?
yeah, I've never really enjoyed sport. No, I mean I love watching sports, but
Right.
I mean it's I've worked in sports my whole career. Um, and I'm a Knicks fan, so like sports are tough. Um, but it's that it's it hasn't really changed the way I watch either. But now I just kind of have something to do while I'm sitting on the couch during like a college football Saturday, just waiting for content to come through, watching all the games. It's fun.
So you're obviously getting a ton of engagement on every post at this point. I'm always interested in this psychology behind what I call the hover, that period where you just posted something and you're watching the engagement roll in. It's not a flattering thing to talk about or admit, but everyone does it. The dopamine rush is just too good. Do you typically sit there and watch the numbers fire upward? And if so, how long?
Hell yeah, that's the only reason why I do it.
Thank you for
Um,
admitting it.
no, I mean it's more the comments I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I said, like going to the comment sections on other posts can be dangerous ground. But the people that comment on my stuff are, for the most part, pretty tame and sometimes interesting. So I enjoy seeing those. I don't really care about like retweets or likes or whatever because I'm not like making money, or I don't have like sponsors that are checking my engagement rates, and I don't even know what influencers end up doing. But um, I enjoy when oh, like Pablo Torre, I know him, or I don't personally know him, but Katie Nolan, like people, I just see like the notifications from these people that I sort of have admired their work. So yeah, I mean, I definitely keep a sense of like how many. I don't even the retweets are tough to track, but like how many likes something gets, and I'll know it's like pretty early on, is this a post that's gonna pop off, or if it's not, and it doesn't really change anything other than just like, oh, like maybe in the future if I tweak so and so to potentially get more engagement. But yeah, for a while it was like that strategy of trying to build the account and right, taking the post, putting in the comments section, and caring about like who interacted with it. Now,
All right, this is the question I've been looking forward to asking the most here because I just love hearing how people get high on their own supply.
uh,
Um, as the person behind Art But Make It Sports, what is your favorite post you've published?
the next one, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of true, right? I do it because I enjoy the content myself. Like I'm not doing this for anyone else. If like I'm definitely doing it for people that follow, but like I'm not going to post anything that I don't enjoy. And part of what I enjoy is making the connection. Um, and so like the anticipation of like what's going to happen, who's going to get choked out in the NBA next, and what am I going to be able to compare that to, is definitely I guess it's a cop out in terms of the answer to your question, but it is kind of true. Um, I don't, I'm trying to think if there's been like a post that led to a whole bunch of people. I mean, there've been a bunch that have led to people, important people or famous people following the account, but I don't know if there's not really like. No, there is one. I got an answer for you. I have it right here. It's you can't really tell. It's the LeBron and D Wade
Oh, I
um,
love that one.
famous image that I did, and then got it on uh, a poster that I.
That might be my favorite one. I actually had that open in a tab because if I mentioned it, I want to get the name right. It's The Assumption of the Virgin by El Greco. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think that's the one I used for that. Yeah. So there's lots of versions of the versions of the Virgin of the Assumption, but yeah.
All right. We have a feature on this podcast that I purposely do not mention to the guests until I ask the question. Just for the sake of integrity, we might develop a little scoreboard here that tracks responses, and I don't want anyone rigging their answer. We're calling the feature Tab Check. So LJ, right now, how many tabs do you have open on the browser of your choice?
So I had like 15, but then I opened up this podcast studio and my computer started to wig out, so I had to close everything. Um, but yeah, I'm a pretty big tab person. I'm pretty unorganized. when it comes to, like, if you were to look at my desktop is terrifying. Like, it's just like files stacked on files, like screenshots and downloads. Um, so yeah, and I have like lots of unread messages and emails, and not great, not proud, but yeah,
So all of your organizing skills go into the photos on your phone, basically.
all my energy.
We've talked a lot about the account you actually run, but what are the algorithms feeding you right now? What when you open your social media apps, what is floating to the top?
Yes, I don't even go on social media really. Um, like I'm on like sports Twitter. It just it feeds me like the worst things in the world, and then I'll just spend my day blocking accounts so I never have to see any of the stuff that it's actually trying to get me into. I don't really use my personal Instagram account ever anymore. I hardly ever used it, and I don't really open up.
Are there accounts that you actually do enjoy following? Like, is there anyone you want to shout out for being a good follow?
All the no context accounts are great.
Those are good.
Like no context college football. That's who I'll shout out. Or Sickos committee too. Like I said, I'm a massive college football fan.
Are you following a specific team or conference, or you just go for all of it?
I'm a Vanderbilt fan, so
Ouch.
no. um, no, I'll watch anything except Vanderbilt football. I know better than to do that anymore.
Is there a corner of the internet people might be surprised that you're obsessed with?
I don't even know how I found it first, but there's a website called artle.uk, artle.uk. For a decent chunk of time, part of like my morning routine, like I would do the Immaculate Grid.
Oh,
Wordle had its moment in the sun, but this it's kind of like a blend of both, but for art. So it'll give you select squares of a famous painting, or famous maybe isn't the right word, because there's a lot of like obscure art that I've never seen before, and it resets every day and get a new one. It gives you a few squares. You make a guess. You can either get it immediately, or if you get the artist right but the wrong painting, turn yellow, and then each time you guess, it reveals more and more squares. It's fun, especially for someone who's well, it's not my job, but whose hobby is trying to memorize art.
that's really cool. Are you doing the sports immaculate grids too?
Yeah, I did the baseball one for a while. It became a little repetitive,
Yeah.
but yeah, those are fun.
You mentioned that this isn't your job. I guess we should maybe cover that. What do you do actually during the day?
Yeah, so I am a director of product at a sports data and technology company.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so working with statistics and sports broadcasts and lots of stuff that happens behind the scenes that people don't really think about when they're watching a game.
What is the last thing that made you truly laugh online?
George Santos, yeah. I mean, today the Travis Kelsey tweets that got unearthed from like 2012 are classic. So definitely spent a bunch of time looking through those and laughing today.
I'm recovering for the way from the way that he spells squirrel is going to take a while
Early,
to recover.
that's quality.
Do you have a most scarring moment on the internet?
Oh God! Every time I open up Elon Musk's Twitter, I guess I keep coming back to this, but I mean, I still use Twitter
Sure.
religiously and every day. But there's lots of landmines to try to avoid these days. So.
Do you? I mean, you spend a lot of time online. It sounds like between your job, you're at the computer, and obviously your hobby, this kind of stuff. Um, Sounds like you have a few coping mechanisms for like the shit that you might encounter online, like between blocking and things like that. Are you doing anything else that maybe other people like might help other people, like to reduce your screen time or the stuff you're being exposed to?
Yeah, I'm looking at her. Get a dog. I just
Oh,
go
there
out
you go.
with my dog and
What kind of dog?
sleepy little butt.
Here we go. Oh,
She's chilling.
beautiful.
Yeah, I like put down the guest bed because if I close the door to this room, she'll get sad that I was in here without her.
Right.
She's part basset hound, part blue heeler, and a little bit of everything else.
I mean, you're spending a considerable amount of time online, like we said. Where do you think you would be without the internet?
I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a hobby. Uh, Garbage man. I don't know what would anybody do. Um, I'd probably be happier. I don't know, or less stressed. I wouldn't be good at like being a garbage man. I like can't fix anything. I'm not good at plumbing or like if something breaks. So I don't know.
I'm right there with you, man. Let's hope it doesn't happen.
Oh, I know what I'd be. I'd be a chef. I'd love to cook.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go. Well, let's hope the internet doesn't go away. But if it were to go away and you could save one thing, what would it be?
Probably Wikipedia. I don't know. I love Wikipedia. I spend a significant amount of time in Wikipedia, just getting lost. All kinds of stuff, lots of art stuff and sports stuff. Shocking, but big time Wikipedia fan.
Do you contribute?
I do not. I should though.
Same. Do you see a day where you might give it up, and what might that look like?
If you see if you see what Elon Musk and his anti-Semitic comments, I don't know. I don't really want to be associated with like being on here all that much longer. But then it kind of feels like you're letting them win in some capacity.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know.
And
But
you've tried the blue skies and the threads, and there's just it's not the same. I mean, you don't have the community that you've already built.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like too lazy to learn a new whole new user interface and like language. Like people talk differently over there. I don't know what half the people are saying when they refer to like whatever the features are called. I'd say like if it no longer became fun,
Hmm.
like the making of the posts is still fun, but like where I'm posting isn't all that fun anymore. There's now a mentality of people that follow that like I need to be posting like this happened, like you have to post this. And it's like fuck you, pay me, like do whatever the fuck I want. Um, but it would be fun to find a way to like monetize it without cheapening the overall product. I don't want to like gatekeep content
Mhm.
through like subscriptions or anything. I think it can only go so long. I'm not going to be like 50 years old doing this probably, but yeah.
You never know.
Hopefully have like better things to do, or if it like makes money, then I'll be a small business owner and I'll keep doing that. But um, so we'll see. I made like an LLC, so I can't get sued, or I guess I can get sued, but then there's no money to
There's
to
nothing to
take from
take. Yeah,
me. There's not much money to take from me anyways.
there you
Yeah,
go. That's a smart move.
yeah,
Have you run into any issues like that, like copyright or posting images that people are upset about?
yeah. So most of the art is part of the public domain. So if
Hmm.
art is older, then it kind of depends on where you are. But usually, if the artist has been dead for 100 years or more, you're sort of free use. And then the images, it depends, right? So some of the images are screen grabs, and then some are like professional photographs that there's this massive community of sports photographers now that follow the account and send images or they post their own images and always make sure to give them credit. But as soon as you start, if I were to like make a print and sell it, you get into some dangerous, I guess, legal ground. Maybe not dangerous, but um, kind of just have to be careful on what you do. And
It sounds like you're mostly on your couch when these like games are happening, and you're able to react pretty quick. Have you ever been out in public and had to panic post or take a trip to the bathroom so you could uh, push something out?
yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like every time every time it's past like 7 p.m. and I get a notification, like if I know games are going on, I'm like, oh, what could this be? Um, Yeah, I'm going to be at a wedding for conference championships for college football. So we'll see how I can scheme my way into making a post or two. But
You scheduled that wedding.
exactly, like something could go viral, and then I'll just do like a post later, and still gets attention, but just like not fun. Like part of the fun is I feel like as soon as I see an image, as soon as something happens and I see the image, there's like a timer that starts, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, all right, you got to get something out as quick as possible, even though it doesn't. There's no real pressure to do it, but it's an added layer of fun behind it. So,
Yeah, it's almost unbelievable. I mean, given how prolific and accurate and timely your posts are, it's just crazy that you're coming up with these things.
yeah,
You
like
know, almost just
the
your own brain.
yeah, like the Draymond fight, brawl, whatever we want to call it. Like as soon as he put Gobert in that headlock, it's like, all right, there's a Jacob Lawrence painting. So I posted that, and I was like, wait, there's some other stuff that could be even better. And then there's one each year that I use for Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura. This piece at the Louvre of a child strangling a goose, and it worked because like Gobert's mouth was open in this other angle or that other angle, first angle, and then use that. I was like, all right, no, let's do it. Let's just keep this going. Then he had him where it looked like his head was on a platter. Had one that St. John the Baptist that worked. So.
Well, I hope you never stop doing it. I mean, even if you are running a small business and you're 50 years old and you're very busy, I hope you keep it up.
Well, I appreciate that. That would be, I guess, that'd be the dream, right? If I can
Yeah.
manage to to just use my stupid skill hobby, I don't know what you want to call it, to actually make enough to make it into a job. And
Yeah, I'd say life is going pretty good if you have time to spend decades posting to the internet.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And maybe who knows what the state of the internet will be in 15 years, but
yeah, I don't
hopefully
know.
better.
You'll be in the metaverse putting these things together.
I feel like that one flopped, right?
Yeah, that's not coming.
We're
That's
over
not
that.
happening.
Yeah, NFTs had its moment too.
Oh, you should mint
I
these
that's
as
okay.
NFTs.
What's it?
There's your move.
Yeah. Well, I tried. I was like messing around, and then I realized, wait, these things are like terrible for the environment and also just stupid. So I'll probably just be replaced by like an actual AI that can do my job better than I can, and then I'll have all my free time in my life back. So be good.
I hope it happens for you. All right. Thank you, LJ, for your contributions to the internet, for this conversation, and just for being you. This is Ryan Perry saying log off, sign out, close the window, smash that power button. The internet will still be there when you get back.